So before we carry on any further, I just want to say rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers out to all those lives lost in this horrific tragedy, the families that are grieving. This is just absolutely horrible. We're hearing 67 lives lost altogether. I believe 64 on the, was it American Airlines flight? And then 3 on this chopper for a total of 67. And, there's different reports about recovering the lives lost, the foggy conditions and just different stuff like that. But we are hearing that they do indeed have the black boxes, which, records everything. You know what I mean? But what I wanted to talk about in this video, and everyone, please join the discussion, the debate. Like, you see this meme that's up here. I talk all the time about politics and political drama and the back and forth and things of that nature, and how it's not typically something that I get into. You know what I'm saying? I personally just feel different ways about different issues and things like that. I try to keep up on the news, and this last election I started following the political drama a little closer. You know what I'm saying? As it's just wild, man. It truly is. Comment, everyone. I know it's always been a thing. Don't talk religion or politics, right? Especially at a bar or whatever. It's supposed to be forbidden. It just never goes well. And, I'm the kind of person, I try to just live by agreeing to disagree. And, I'm not really here to argue type of dude. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes things can go there, but it's just so wild. In the wake of this horrific tragedy here, it's turned into this massive political drama. And I don't know, we got a lot of clips to get to. Everyone, please join the discussion with your thoughts.
Office, they put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened, because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was on January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program.
Today, blamed the diversity elements, but then told us that you weren't sure that the controllers made any mistake. You then said perhaps the helicopter pilots were the ones who made the mistake.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have.
This is a tragedy that occurred. A above DCA Airport. Lives have been lost. Families have been devastated. People are suffering. And the leader of this country decides to go out and peddle lies, conspiracy theories, and attack people of color and women without any basis whatsoever. Have you no decency? Have you no respect for the families whose lives have been turned upside down?
Interesting morning. This is Joe Ellis. I am a Blackhawk pilot with Virginia Army National Guard. I understand some people have associated me with the crash in DC, and that is false. It is insulting to the families to try to tie this to some sort of political agenda. They don't deserve that. I don't deserve this. And I hope that you all know that I am alive and well, and this should be sufficient for you all to end all the rumors. I also have a statement. The Department of Defense is responsible for casualty notifications. There were no Virginia National Guard personnel on that Blackhawk that collided with the jetliner Wednesday evening. Thank you.
Good morning. You know, it's kind of hard to describe the vibe here at DCA. We are just about a day and a half since this terrible catastrophe, and it's a harsh juxtaposition. The plane and the helicopter are still in the Potomac, but the TSA lines are filled with people like any other morning here because the airport is back open. It opened up at 11 o'clock yesterday to flights. Remember, this crash happened above the Potomac River, not above the actual airfield, so they were able to open up the airport pretty quickly. We also have the NTSB letting us know last night. Take a look at these pictures that they posted to social media showing that they have recovered the black boxes on this American Airlines CRJ 700, this regional jet. The black boxes, very important for two reasons. Number one, it's going to tell you exactly what the pilots were telling each other, were talking about on the flight deck in those critical moments. Then it's going to tell you exactly what the actual airplane was doing, the systems on board, how they were reacting to all of this. That's critical pieces of evidence that are going to help the NTSB figure out exactly what went wrong here. The NTSB, of course, in charge of this investigation, they're saying, hey, it's not going to take days, it's not going to take weeks, we're talking about months and potentially years. Take a listen.
We are all here because this is an all-hands on-deck event. And we're here to assure the American people that we are going to leave no stone unturned in this investigation. We are going to conduct a thorough investigation of this entire tragedy, looking at the facts.
Okay, let's talk about the victims here. Remember, we're talking about 67 people in total. Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, teammates. 64 people on that American Airlines flight, 3 service members on that military helicopter. We're told by DC Fire and EMS that roughly 40 bodies have been taken out of the Potomac River. They stopped that operation last night because it's difficult to get to certain parts of the fuselage of that plane, but we are told that they're going to be working with the NTSB later on today to continue this dive operation to pull bodies from the Potomac here. And that all is happening, of course, as people are lining up for flights just 36 hours after this devastating tragedy. Back to you.
All right, Joseph, thank you so much. Live from Reagan National Airport.
All right, so you see all those clips there. We have Trump speaking about the FAA and hiring policies and DEI and people with these different disabilities, that the FAA had this big push for them to be hired. There's reports coming out that is not true in the sense of air traffic controllers. We'll get to that. You see like memes like this from this rapper here, Mr. Servon. He put, strange that a white guy was flying the plane, a white guy was flying the helicopter, and a white guy gutted the FAA last week. But somehow MAGA is blaming too much diversity. And what does everyone think about what Trump is saying there? Again, we have these reports saying that this is indeed not true. As you see, this was published by NPR. It's titled, "People with Intellectual Disabilities Do Lots of Jobs, but They Don't Direct Air Traffic." And it shows Trump taking questions from reporters at the White House on Thursday about the collision of an American Airlines flight with the military Blackhawk helicopter near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. And it says, "No, the Federal Aviation Administration did not recruit people with intellectual disabilities to work as air traffic controllers." Despite what President Trump said at a press conference Thursday, this is a quote, "They can be air traffic controllers. That's not how disability hiring works," says Chai Feldblum, a disability lawyer and former commissioner of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Disability employment law, she says, requires, quote, "that the person with a disability must be able to perform the essential functions of the job." As you see a lot of people speaking about this here, like someone saying, Keith Olbermann here tweeted, "So it wasn't DEI, it was DOGE, not your first crash, right?" Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk, we know, is like a heavy Trump supporter, and his is often in a lot of the political debates and such that go on online, especially in the Twitter sphere, now known as X. As we know, Elon Musk owns it. It says here, this Keith Olbermann shared these two articles with this, saying control tower staffing was not normal during crash, FAA report says. An internal report suggested the controller was doing a job usually handled by two people when an airplane collided with an Army helicopter, killing 67. And what's it say? Normal, the time of day and volume of traffic, according to an internal preliminary Federal Aviation Administration safety report about the collision that was reviewed by the New York Times. The controller, who was handling helicopters in the airport's vicinity Wednesday night, was also instructing planes that were landing and departing from its runway. So I'm a bit confused there. Someone help fill me in on why this individual is saying not your first crash, right? Elon Musk. What exactly is he just calling out Elon because of things Elon's saying in regards to this stuff with Trump, or what? Comment your thoughts about that. But yeah, there's these reports here that someone was sent home by their boss right in the midst of this day, just hours before the crash. And here's some other stuff being shared. Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts key aviation safety advisory. This is January 21st, 2025, so just 9 days ago. Again, Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts key aviation safety advisory committee. President Donald Trump has moved quickly to remake the Department of Homeland Security by firing the heads of the Transportation Security Administration and Coast Guard before their terms are up, while eliminating all the members of a key aviation security advisory group. And then was to say the ranking members responds to the freezing of air traffic controlling hiring. The Bipartisan FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024 directs the administration to hire the maximum number of air traffic controllers. That's what the law says. So the administration must rescind this ridiculous executive order, Ranking Member Larson said. Quote, "Hiring air traffic controllers is the #1 safety issue, according to the entire aviation industry. Instead of working to improve aviation safety and lower costs for hardworking American families, the administration is choosing to spread bogus DEI claims to justify this decision." Still quoted here. "I'm not surprised by the president's dangerous and divisive actions, but the administration must reverse course. Let's get back to aviation safety and allow the FAA to do its job protecting the flying public. So I don't know, just a lot of different stuff here about the hiring freeze or the hiring practices of the FAA, and these statements made by President Trump. Our top priority must be the safety of the flying public. So in order, freezing the hiring of air traffic controllers is a misguided decision and goes against the directives of our FAA reauthorization bill, Ranking Member Cohen said. Quote, the aviation community will speak with one voice in condemning this short-sighted policy and reaffirm our commitment to hiring the critical personnel necessary for ensuring public safety. So just a lot going on. But to recap, again, we've heard from Trump, that reporter questioning Trump about the statements that he was making with the investigation ongoing. Again, the black boxes were recovered. This could take quite some time. And to be honest, in situations like this, I often wonder what information will all make it out to the public. I don't know, like you see how everything becomes so heated politically in just all matters nowadays. And, it's kind of like choose a side in a sense, from news networks to businesses to everything. It's like this back and forth war that just every aspect of American life is tied to in a sense. You know what I mean? And that's, again, what I hate about all the political stuff. Everything becomes an ish throwing contest, rather than people just kind of coming together and, going with the best ideas possible. It just seems like almost like a gang-like mentality in a sense. But you had the reporter questioning Trump, Hakeem Jeffries. He was the individual speaking about that this tragedy just happened, and, bodies are still being worked to be recovered. RIP again to everyone. And, that he was like condemning the statements being made by Trump about DEI as this is all going on. And then that trans pilot from the Virginia National Guard, the Blackhawk pilot, Joe Ellis, who was saying that is indeed false. As you can see, he's alive. He was not the individual flying the plane, the chopper, apologies, the Blackhawk, and saying like, this is not the time for conspiracy theories or anything like that. You know what I mean? And it's insensitive to the lives lost. And there's this clip also circulating back from 2009 here. I'm going to share it with y'all. This is when Obama was in office. And I actually remember this, being that I am from Buffalo, New York. There was a terrible crash that happened there. There's a monument that stands there. I believe it was in Cheektowaga, New York, a suburb of Buffalo that borders Buffalo to the east, on the east side of Buffalo. But in regards to this clip, you see, here's a clip.
Before I begin, I want to say a brief word about the terrible tragedy that took place outside of Buffalo last night. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and friends who lost loved ones. And as always, our thanks go out to the brave first responders who arrived immediately to try and save lives, and we're still on the scene, keeping people safe. Tragic events such as these remind us of the fragility of life and the value of every single day. One person who understood that well was Beverly Eckert, who was on that flight and who I met with just a few days ago. You see, Beverly lost her husband on 9/11. And became a tireless advocate for those families whose lives were forever changed on that September day. And in keeping with that passionate commitment, she was on her way to Buffalo to mark what would have been her husband's birthday and launch a scholarship in his memory. So she was an inspiration to me and to so many others, and I pray that her family finds peace and comfort in the hard days ahead.
From 2009, this has been being shared on social networks. When President Obama spoke about the Centennial Airlines crash, the last time we had an airline crash with fatalities in America. Is that true, y'all? Way back in 2009? I thought that there was something more recently. I mean, I hope that there wasn't, but I'm just, everyone, just please comment. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like the video. Obviously, we do not like these horrible events that took place, or all this political drama going on right now and everything. But, you know, just to get it out there in the algorithm for more people to join the discussion. As always, that's what this channel is about, to just coffee talk it up with the people out there. You know, like, there's so many narratives and just different things like that that we see just kind of get pushed out there, and I like to try to bring things together for people just to be able to discuss it. And like I was saying, let's try to live by, let's agree to disagree if necessary. But, you know, sometimes people get in arguments or whatever, but obviously this is just a terrible situation at the end of the day. You know, a lot of people just lost their lives, a lot of families in mourning. But I do remember this back in the 09, right? But it says he didn't blame Bush, he didn't blame Reagan. He was just he was just consoled America, a real commander in chief. And that is so terrible. That woman lost her husband in 9/11. You know, and got very involved in the cause, and was flying to Buffalo to be involved in a scholarship in her husband's honor. And then she is killed in a plane crash. That is just terrifying. Man, I hate flying. I'm not a guy, like, I've flown, I just don't like it. I know all the statistics about being safer in an airplane when you crunch the numbers rather than being in a car. But I just feel safer on Earth. I do not like being up there. I don't know, you know, everyone else, how you feel. But that's just what's being pointed out. A lot of people just saying these comments by Trump, these political arguments and stuff like that are insensitive. And, you know, like, look how Obama was just trying to console America. You know, I don't know. And like I was pointing out, there's different news outlets, and with all this being said, you know, I always let y'all know with different topics that we cover. I mean, I'm no expert, right? I'm just a guy talking into a device, talking to everyone out there. You know, I don't claim to be any expert, but someone that attorney that is involved in people with intellectual disabilities getting jobs was saying that, you know, that's not how it works. Like, disputing what Trump is saying. But I don't know, man. What do you think about all this? I'm curious to know if there is anyone out there, as I was saying, with the political drama and in the back and forth nowadays. It just really feels like it's kind of become like a gang-like mentality, you know, just two sides warring it out. Even like if there's an instance at times where maybe someone from one side feels what is being spoke about on the other side makes more sense, like they're afraid to say it, you know what I mean? And it just really feels like it's gotten to the point like at an all-time high, the tension. Comment again if you agree with that or not. Once again, I remember, you know, growing up, again, like barroom rules, no religion, no politics. It just never ends well. It's not good dinner conversation or anything like that. It's a sure way for people to get into an argument, right? I obviously that's always been a thing, but it just feels like nowadays it's just like so divisive, and just, I don't know, like families have been ripped apart behind different members of the family supporting different political parties or candidates or ideology or things like that. And that's just wild to me. I don't know, you know what I mean? But again, this is a terrible situation. Rest in peace to all these lives lost, man. You know, what is everyone's thoughts? Let's discuss this tragic situation and all this political back and forth that we're seeing. So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Once again, we talk music, news, sports, a lot of different stuff over here. Crime news. The topics are endless, you know, much to my detriment. very often people tell me, Coffee, you talk about too much stuff on this channel, but just is what it is. That's how I rock. I just like to talk with the people out there. So tap in, be safe, everyone. God bless. Look forward to talking to everyone in the comments. Again, ultimately, we wish that this didn't happen, but it did. And, thoughts and prayers out. Stay tuned for updates. It's Jay Coffee signing out.